Kadosh, Boker Tov, Masechet Ketubot Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph. We just finished yesterday by saying, and we're going to start just on the last line on Vav Amud Bet 56b. Achde de Remi Bar Chama, the sister of Remi Bar Chava, Hava Nesiba le Rav Avia. She was married to Rav Avia. V'irkas ketubata. She lost her ketubah. So Atu lekamed Rav Yosef. They came in front of Rav Yosef. They wanted to know, no, how do they write in ketubah, so on and so forth. Elmaleh, he told them. Hachi amar Rav Yehuda amar Shmuel. This is what Rav Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel. Zo divrei Rabbi Meir. A woman, if she's not going to be somech on her ketubah, which is bilad znut, or the words of Rabbi Meir. Aval chachamim omrim b'chachamim say Mashe adam et ishto shev shlosh shanim lo ketubah. You can leave your wife even for 2 or 3 years without a ketubah, no problem. So Amaleh Abaye says, "V'amar Rav Nachman ben Shmuel achak Rabbi Meir gzirot." 1 second. This is a gezerah of Rabbi Meir, yeah. And if this is a Rabbi Meir gezerah of Rabbi Meir, we pass it like this gezerah. So he says the Gemara, "Yachiv so zil ktovla." You're right. And here you seeing mefurash at the beginning. He was saying, "Listen, shitat chachamim is no big deal if you don't have the ketubah. You understand? For 2-3 years, it's okay." But then he said, "What I'm talking about?" Rav Nachman said, "We pass like Rabbi Meir. There's a gezerah of Rabbi Meir that if you don't have a ketubah, you are doing bilad znut." So imagine a person could be married for, right, whatever it is, right, 18, 19 years, right? All of a sudden, right, the ketubah disappears. You know what I mean? Disappears. He makes it disappear. You know, so but because the ketubah disappears, and now all of a sudden, yeah. And what happens? And all of a sudden now, right, everything that he does is considered znut. With his own wife, it's considered znut. Znut imishto. Yeah, why? Because of what the Rabbi Meir just said, and that's how we pass it. Fine. That's how we pass it. That's how we pass it. Of course. So when Rabbi came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Amar Mishum Pazi, says Mishum Pazi, Amar Mishum Levi, says Levi Mishum Bar Kapara. So he says the name of Bar Kapara. Mahloket, the mahloket between Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda is that if according to Rabbi Yosef, if he made a condition balpeh, it's kayam. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's going to be batel. He's only if that's going to be batechila, which means that the woman was still not zocha in her ketubah. But if the t'nai was made at the end, the divrei akol according to everybody, ena mochelet, she's not mochelet to ketubah, and therefore it doesn't help. Rabbi Yochanan says, ben bezo, machloket. Doesn't matter whether it's in this case or the other case, it's going to be a machloket. So Amar Rabbi Yavu says Rabbi Yavu, Rabbi Yochanan, for me was explaining the words of Rabbi Yochanan, the Ana Rabbi Yoshua Levi lo pagina nadadi, because me and Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yoshua Levi we're not arguing with each other. My batechila, what is the beginning that Rabbi Yoshua Levi is talking about? The tchilat chuppah, the beginning of the chuppah. Okay? So that's what he's saying, that Rabbi Yosef holds that the t'nai is going to be kayam. Umayva sof, what does it mean the end? Sof biyah, after relations. So when was I talking about? Ben bezo, machloket. Tchilat chuppah is so chuppah, he tchilat biyah. Because like this, when you do the tchilat chuppah, you cannot be mochelet. But the machloket is going to be, can she be mochelet at the end of the chuppah, which is the end of the chuppah, is the beginning of the biyah. Right? After the chuppah, that's when the biyah starts, correct? So therefore, that's what he says. So after the chuppah, before he had relations with her, that is when Rabbi Yoshua Levi is going to be modeh, that there's a machloka between Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda, can she be mochelet or not? So it comes out that there's no machloka between Rabbi Yoshua Levi and Rabbi Yochanan, only in 3 different cases. Shat knisa lechuppah, which is a tchila, after the chuppah, before the biyah, which is called the sof, okay, and after the biyah, okay, fine. Kiata Ravin, when Ravin came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Amar Mishum Pazi, Amar Mishum Levi Mishum Bar Kapara. Says Mishum Pazi, Mishum Levi Mishum Bar Kapara. Machloket is levasof. The machloket is going to be at the end, right? Because we said at the beginning, the first one was machlok betechila. Now we're saying the machloket is at the end. But betechila, divrei akol mochelet. According to everybody, she could be mochelet if it's going to be done at the beginning of the marriage. Rabbi Yochanan says no. Ben bezo, it's always a machlok, whether it's the beginning or the end. Amar Rabbi Yavu says Rabbi Yavu didn't fashion Rabbi Yochanan. For me was explaining the words of Rabbi Yochanan. The Ana Rabbi Yoshua Levi lo palgina dadi, that I and Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yoshua Levi were not arguing. My levasof. What is the vasof that Rabbi Yoshua Levi says? The sof chuppah, the end of the chuppah. My tchila, what is tchila? Tchilat chuppah. So when I said that ben mezo machloket, there's a machloket in both, it's talking about tchilat biyah, which is sof biyah, which is the end of the chuppah and the sof biyah. So according to this, Rabbi Yishua ben Levi is modeh that Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda, right, are arguing. And I'm going to be modeh to Rabbi Yishua ben Levi that the beginning of the chuppah, even Rabbi Yehuda agrees that what? That you could be, that you could make a t'nai al peh and it's going to help. Okay? Fine. You have a chart there, by the way, if you want in the art school. Right? So Amar Rav Papa. So Rav Papa comes and he says, Ilav Amar Rabbi Yavhu, if it wasn't for the fact that Rabbi Yavhu came and he said that Rabbi Yavhu came and he said that it was explained to me the words of Rabbi Yochanan that him and Rabbi Yosef Levi are not arguing. Hava Mina, I would have thought to say Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Levi pligid. There is a machlok between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Levi. Rav Dimi and Ravi lo pligid. Rav Dimi and Ravi are not arguing. My sof the kamar Ravi. What is the end? Sof chuppah. What is the tchila the kamar Rav Dimi? Tchila biyah. Because remember, sof chuppah and tchila biyah is oto dovar. Because at the end of the chuppah is the beginning of the biyah. We said we say beginning and end. Beginning of what? Beginning of the chuppah, the end of the chuppah. Beginning of the biyah, end of the biyah. So now the sof chuppah and tchila biyah is the same thing. Okay. So my kamash what is the chidush? Hakamash the pligid tre amoraya tamed denafshayu. The two Amoraim are arguing in the Svarot. But it wasn't that it's going to be two Amoraim. What is it, the Shita and one Amorah? Meaning, it's not that there are two Amoraim arguing in the Shita of one rabbi. It's two Amoraim that are arguing between themselves Svarot. Okay? Fine. Now we're at the Mishnah. So Mishnah Nun Zayin Mud Aleph. Mishnah. Says the Mishnah. Notnin la betula Shneim Asar Chodesh. You give a betula 12 months in order to marry. Mishetida'ah haba'al. Once the Baal comes and he tells her that he wants to get married, we give her 12 months. So basically he comes and he says, okay, we're at 12 months. Capish? Very good. Okay. Lefarneset atzma, in order to prepare herself, whether it's with clothing, adornments, Shem shenit notrim laisha. So just like you give her the 12 months, so do you give the Chatan the same thing, the 12 months in order to prepare for the Chuppah and the Seudah. 12 months. Yeah, from the Erusim to the Nesuim. But for an Almanah, you only give her 30 days. Okay, to prepare herself. Why? But she doesn't need such a big preparation. Okay, that's what the Rashi says. Right, there's a whole thing over here. Okay, fine. So basically for an Almanah, you only get 30 days. Okay, what happens if it came to 30 days or the 12 months and they didn't get married? So chlot mishelo ve'ochlo bitruma. So now the chatan is obligated to give her to eat, and she's able to eat truma if she got married to a kohen. What does that mean? That means that now he's obligated in everything. Why? Because now, technically speaking, he's already married. You understood? Because now that's it. He's supposed to get married to her. He didn't get married to her. Yeah, obviously. Rabbi Tarfon Omer, Rabbi Tarfon says, Notnin la kol truma, right? We're going to give her truma, right? What does that mean? If the chatan wants, right, he could give her truma, even though he has to actually, she has to be careful, obviously, and when she's an idah, she's not allowed to eat truma, and so on and so forth, right? But he's allowed. Rabbi Kiva Omer, mechza chuli mechza truma. No, we give her half chuli and half truma. Okay, that's what we give her. Okay. Next, hayavam. What about a yavam now? So a yavam eno ma'achil truma. The yavam cannot give his sister-in-law to eat truma. Asta shisha chodashim bifnei abal. But what is the case exactly? So, for example, what happens right now? She was 6 months by the husband, and then the husband died. Yeah, and then 6 months in front of the yavam. Va'afilu kulan bifnei abal, or everything in front of the husband. Chaser yom echad bifnei yavam, right? Except for one day that was in front of the yavam. Or kulam bifnei yavam, or everything in front of the yavam, except for one day by the husband. And in this case, in these cases, she does not need truma. You understood? That means it has to be the entire time in front of the husband. Then she eats truma. But if it's going to be everything minus one day in front of the husband, the rest was the yavam. Or the opposite, everything in front of the yavam except for one day that was by the husband. Or it has to be the entire thing by the husband in order for her to eat truma. Okay? Rishona. This is the first Mishnah, right? The bedin shel acharen amru. However, though there was a bedin afterwards that they came and they retracted on Numzayin Mubet, and it says, "And Aisha ochel b'truma shekneset chuppah." No, she never eats truma until she gets married. So that means there's Mishnah Rishonah, Mishnah Acharona, by the way. This is also in Halakha. Mishnah Rishonah. Mishnah Rishonah means the first version, the first psak, right? Mishnah Acharona is the final verdict or the final Mishnah Acharona. So therefore, at the beginning, they would say, listen, after the 12 months, he didn't get married to her yet. He can still give her to Terumah. Mishnah Acharona is, no, doesn't exist. She only needs Terumah when she gets married. If she's not married, there's no Terumah. From where do we know these words from? Now, what does that mean? How do we know that a kala gets 12 months to prepare herself for the wedding? Like nowadays, we don't even give them. Yeah? So it says, Amar Rav Chasta, says Rav Chasta, the Amar Kav, as the pasuk says, Vayomer Ahia ve'imah, Teshem Nara itanu yamim o asor, ma yamim. Right? What does that mean? That the brothers and the mother, this is obviously the Amar Rivka, they went and said that she should stay here. Yamim o asor. Ma yamim, what does it mean yamim? Ilim, if you're going to tell me today Yom, it's 2 days, because Yamim is plural. So Yom is 1 day, Yamim is 2 days. So if you're going to tell me Yamim, you write today Yom, Nishtai Nishachi. Well, people speak like that. Amrullah, just say 2 days. What are the Yamim? So Amarlehu, he said, no. Amrullah, they said Asara Yom. They said 10 days. So what's my Yamim? Shana. It means a year. It says in the pasuk, Yamim tiye geulato. When you sell a property inside of a walled city, you only have 1 year to buy it back. You understand what happened? For example, right now, let's say you sell a property. Yeah? One more time. You come and you sell a property. Okay? When you come and you sell a property, right, what happens? Doesn't matter what happens, you could always get it back. When do you get it back? For free. When? Yovel. Yovel. Chazak Uru. What happens if it's in a walled city? In a walled city, you have 1 year. 1 year, you have to buy it back. If you don't buy it back within that 1 year, Kaddish. That's it. You lost out on it. So therefore, he comes and he says, Yamim tiye geulato. You have 1 Yamim. What does that mean? There's not talking about 2 days. It's about 1 full year. So he says the same thing. So from Rivka, when it says, Teshevit anara itanu Yamim, Yamim means 1 year. So from here we learn, right, that it's going to be a year. Asa Gemara ve'ima chodesh. Maybe it's a month. Tichtiv ad chodesh Yamim. It says mefurash ad chodesh Yamim. There's a Bamidbar over there. So he comes and he says, Amrei, we're going to say Danin Yamim bistam, right? Miyamim stam. And Danin Yamim stam, Yamim shenema ben chodesh. He said, no, it's much better to learn Yamim from Yamim that there's no extra word to it. Here it's written chodesh Yamim. So because it's a chodesh Yamim, we're not going to learn Yamim from chodesh Yamim. Learn Yamim from Yamim, not Yamim from chodesh Yamim, right? Because there it has an extra word. Tana Ktana Beni Ben Avia Yocholin Lakev. We learned that a Ktana, whether it's her or her father, they could push off the Nisuin for even more than 12 months. Meaning, if she's going to be a Ktana, so therefore it's going to be, even if it's going to be more. Okay, so Bishma I understand that she could stop the wedding, right? Why? Because she needs more time. She's a Ktana, she needs more time for the wedding. But her father, I don't understand. If she wants to get married, why would the father stop the wedding? Why would the father come and say, no, you know what? You have to wait. Why do you have to wait? She's ready. Let her get married. Savari says, Hashta lo yada. Now she doesn't understand what it is to get married. But tomorrow, Nimreda v'nafka, she's going to rebel against him and she's going to go out. And then she's going to come back on the father. So because of that, the father could come and stop the wedding and say, you know what? Wait a little bit longer. The father knows what he's doing. Now he doesn't want that all of a sudden she's going to fall again on him. So because of that, so Amar Bi'aba Bar Levi, says Bi'aba Bar Levi, Em poskin la ktana la asiya k'shi ktana. Do you know that we're not going to be kovea zman for ktana to get her married? Aval poskin la ktana, but we're going to be posek la ktana la asiya k'shi gdola. Only when she becomes older, when she becomes gdola. Meaning, when she's a ktana, we don't force her to get married. Only when she becomes a gdola, that's when we're going to come and we're going to put her a time. So says the Gemara Pshita, obviously. Says the Gemara, I would have thought to say lechush dilma ma'ile pachta mehashta bechalsha. Says maybe the fact that you're putting a date, she's going to get all mefachedet, she's going to get all nervous and build a nerve, right? And then what's going to happen? She's going to become weakened. Kamashmalan comes to teach you that you're allowed to make a time for the chatuna be'odah ktana, right? On condition that the wedding will be after she's already a dola. Yeah, fine. So Amar Ravuna comes and he says, Bagra yom echad. right? Right now, she becomes a bogeret, yom echad v'nitkadsha, and then she gets married. Notnin la 30 yom ke'almana. So we're going to give her 30 days, just like an almana, and not 12 months. Right? Why? Because a na'ara, right, b'derech klal, she prepares her takshitim and all these things, and therefore, that's why it comes over here, it says we're going to give her, right, 30 days. Okay? So incredible. That means it comes out that by a bogeret, all of a sudden, you don't need a full year to prepare. All she needs is 30 days, just like an al-manah. Okay? So he comes and he says, like this. So mate-based, we're going to ask the question, Bagra harei kitvua, says the din of the bogeret is like a kala that the chatan already was tavauta, which means she doesn't wait for like, the takshitim and all these things. So my love, are we not talking about, right, kitvua de betula? So says the Gemara, no, kitvua de almana. Like she was asked by an almana. Remember that by almana it's 30 days, and by the betula it's going to be a year. So Tashema, we know in the Braita, Bogeret Sheshata Shlemasat Chodesh Eliezer Omer Eliezer says, since the husband is always obligated in her parnasa, yafer, he could also do a farat nedarim, just like a husband. So says the Gemara, no, Eima Bogeret Visheshata Shlemasat Chodesh. Bogeret or a woman that waited 12 months. Why? Because basically it's two different cases. It's a Bogeret, which was 30 days, or a woman that was 1 full year. But not that it's a bogeret also gets 1 full year. Rabbi says no. Since the husband is chayav in the mizunot, he does a farat nedarim. Tashema. So we're going to bring a proof. Hameares the betula. Somebody that's going to be me'ares betula mentioned to baal me'akev, mentioned to he baal me'akev. Whether it's going to be that the baal was me'akev, right, was tovea, and it's me'akev, it mentioned to he baal me'akev. You're going to give her the 12 months from the time of the tviyah, and not from the time of the Yerusim. Ubagra harei ketvua. And Bagra, she's going to be like a tvua. Ketzah, what's the case? Bagra yom echavrit kacha. If right now she was Bagra even 1 day and then she got married, we're going to give her 12 months. And for Nusa, we're going to give her 30 days, which means, so Tufta de Ravuna. This is a Tufta de Ravuna. Why? Because here you see that even for a Bogeret, you give her 12 months. So says Gemara, you're right, Tufta. It is a question against him because we don't have an answer. Right? That means it basically comes out that you always give 1 year, even if it's going to be a Bogeret. So says the Gemara, what does it mean then you're going to give for an Nusa 30 days? Papa says, this is what we say. Bogeret shavru aleh 12 chodesh bibagrut. A Bogeret, which passed 12 months bibagrut, and then she gets married. Then we give her 30 days like an almana. Okay, nekuda. Fine. Okay. Now he says over here like this. Because basically it just says that once she becomes a bogeret, she doesn't need that much time to prepare herself anymore. Right? Because she's already much more ready. She was, waiting for such a long time to get married, and so on and so forth. Nowadays, everything changed, obviously. Because nowadays, girls don't get married at 12 and a half. In a sense, so obviously everything changed. Fine. Igiyazman velo nisu. Right? So what happens now? They came the time, and they didn't get married. Yeah? So says the Gemara, Amarula. Ula says, yeah? He comes and he says like this. Devar Torah, Arusa bat Israel. He says, Arusa bat Israel, ochele bitruma. She eats truma. Shneimar says, Basut vekohen ki nefesh kinyan kaspo. When a kohen is going to buy a slave, which is kinyan kaspo, the hainami kinyan kaspo. This is also his wife. It's not a slave, but she's his money. She's his personal wealth. You understand? So, Umata mamru ena ochelet. So one thing, so why doesn't she eat them? So he says, Shemaim zegula kos bevet avia. Because maybe they're going to give her truma in the house of her father. And then she's going to give to her brothers, right, or to her sisters, or whatever it is. And now it's too much. So they're not allowed to eat it. So because of that, that was a gizera. Meaning they made a decree. If you're going to start giving her truma, she's still in the father's house. So all of a sudden she's going to come and she's going to... No, so you're not allowed to. So yeah. So Yahachi, if so, he gives Mavlon tsunami. So once even if it came the time and she didn't get married, it's the same halacha. So it says, no, there, the chatan has to give her a house. Meaning, once it passes a year, he takes her out of the father's house and he has to rent for an apartment until he actually gets married to her. Meaning the mama, he has to designate from her a place because now she's not in her father's jurisdiction anymore. So because of that, that's what he has to do. Right? So then he could give her. So, Ela mi'ata lakit kohen Israel lo lechol bitruma dilmat mechabade. So 1 second. When you have a Likit Kohen, right, that he is working for Israel. Meaning the Kohen is coming and he's working for the Israel. Israel has a big field. The Kohen comes, Melaket, right, he's taking all the divinity. He shouldn't also. Why? He says, no, to eat Truma. Because maybe all of a sudden he's going to give the Israel to eat Truma. So says the Gemara, Hashta mididu safule midide achle. Says 1 second. If they're going to give him the food, so now what? They're going to eat from him? Meaning like this. It doesn't make sense. The Kohen is working for the Israel. So the Kohen is taking the food from the Israel. And now they're going to go eat from the Kohen? It's their food. Why in the world would they go to the Kohen to get the food?
What if you bring some food from his house?
So Hashta mididu safu mididu achle, obviously not going to eat. Shmuel bar Rav, right? Rav Yehuda Amar. Shmuel bar Yehuda says mishum simpon. You know what simpon is? The reason why they're not allowed to eat truma is because of simpon. What does that mean? It's going to be mvatel the kiddushin. It's like a mum. So imagine right now a person comes and he gets married. And after the first night, he comes and he realizes that she has a big blemish. And it's a mekach taut. It's a blemish that's big enough that he could actually come and annul the entire wedding. So that's going to be a big problem now. Because of the simpon, now it's going to come out that this woman was eating truma and she wasn't able to because now the entire marriage was annulled. So says Gemara, Yachiv, so, 1 second. So the second that she came into the chuppah, as long as there was no relations, why don't you also still suspect for simpon? If the entire concept is for a defect that you can annul the marriage, so therefore, what do I care now that they went into the chuppah? At the end, there was no relations. So he says, no. He says, no. When he takes into the chuppah, he already checked her out. Do you know that was the reason of the henna? The henna, who used to go to the henna, right? The mother-in-law also. The mother-in-law used to go, and they used to take them to the mikveh, right? And they used to make sure that everything was okay. You understand? So therefore, because of that, it was checked out. So therefore, right, it was going to be checked out to make sure that everything was okay, and then he brings her into the chuppah.
Shalom.
Gemara says now, so we're going to ask the following question. Eved Kohen shelekachom Yisrael. What happens to an Eved Kohen that he purchased from a Israel? Okay, so that means the Kohen buys an Eved from the Israel. Lo lechol betruma shum simpon. He shouldn't also eat truma. Why? Because of simpon. So he says simpon ba'avadim leka. There's no simpon by avadim. Why? Di me'abrai hakachazele. If the simpon is on the outside, you can actually see it. Okay? Ve'id de gavai, and if it's going to be on the inside, lemlacha kabai. Right? He only needs them for melacha. What does he care? Imagine you have an Eved that he's some strong, I don't know what. Yeah. But over here, I don't know what. He's got some deranged, I don't know what. What do you care? You took an Eved for working. You didn't take an Eved for, I don't know what. You understand? So therefore, so what do you care? Vide gavai, imlacha kabai. Velobas, right? The mum b'shebasete lo ichpatles. He doesn't care about any mum which is in hiding. So nimsa ganav or kubiostos. However, though, what happens now if he was found to be a ganav? Right? Remember, it's an eved, it's a slave. So the slave, he's a ganav. Or he's a kubiostos, which is gunev nefashot. He ransoms people, he kidnaps people. Higio, it's a good sale. Ma'ika listim zuyan or muhtav lamalchut. And now he says, so why? What gum is there more that you're going to come and you're going to annul it? At the end of the day, okay, higio, why? Because at the end of the day, right, it's known, Stam Eved, he's a ganav. Right, we know, Stam a slave, he's a ganav. So what do you want? So he says, so what is it? Alistim Mezuyan, that he kills people? Or Muhtav Lemalchut, or he's going to be killed? There, Kalaitlu, everyone knows about it. Meaning if somebody has a death penalty role, everybody knows about it. So you don't know. So what's the case then? So therefore, because of that, that's what we said. For the Avadim, there's not going to be a problem. And Bezrat Hashem, we continue tomorrow.